In the game of grown men, effort without results is nothing but waste. You feel bitter when you see immoral men rise to the top while you remain stuck at the bottom despite pushing yourself to exhaustion, and then you soothe yourself with the same old refrain, "I'm poor because I lack opportunities, because my family has no influence, or because this society is too unfair." Stop deceiving yourself. Those excuses are nothing more than anesthetics meant to numb your wounded ego. Machiavelli exposed a brutal truth that this world deliberately tries to hide. Poverty and inferiority are not predetermined destinies. They are the outcomes of choices. Your greatest illusion is not the lack of money, but the belief that your failure is caused by external circumstances. The truth is far more ruthless. You were not defeated by the world. You are systematically destroying yourself through your own weakness and fear of power. It is time to throw away that weak mask of kindness. I will use the philosophy of Machiavelli to dissect the mechanics of power and domination, things that 99% of the crowd out there are too afraid to even touch. Anyone who insists on being a good person in a world full of people who are not will, sooner or later, be destroyed. If you dare to face the truth and learn how to control the game, watch this video until the end. I will show you how to turn pressure into a weapon and how to think like a true conqueror. Are you ready to wake up? Or do you want to keep sleeping in complacency? Let me lead you into the world of Machiavelli. And remember, this video is not for the weak who only want to be comforted. Ruthless truth. In modern society, many people feel trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty, stagnation, or lack of success. They believe the main causes lie in their circumstances, a lack of opportunities, or an unfair society. However, according to Machiavelli's thinking, the greatest barrier actually lies in how individuals face and respond to pressure, discomfort, and the habit of shifting blame. It is the way each person chooses to react to hardship, their persistence in upholding personal standards, and their choice of surrounding environment that ultimately determines success or failure. In this video, I will share with you 8 core arguments drawn from Machiavelli's philosophy to help you outperform 99% of others. Do not be discouraged by this new lesson, because I will provide concrete examples for each argument, allowing you to easily reflect on yourself and make the adjustments needed to rise higher. Poverty and failure are the results of choice, not fate. Imagine yourself standing at a crossroads, facing 2 paths before you. One side is a smooth, well-worn road shaded by trees, where the crowd pushes forward together with complacent smiles. The other side is a sheer cliff, sharp gravel tearing into your feet, violent winds ready to knock down anyone who dares step onto it. 99% of men out there choose the first path. They choose immediate comfort, unaware that its destination is the abyss of mediocrity. You are standing there too, hesitating and afraid. Aren't you? Wake up. Poverty and failure are not punishments from God. They are the results of your cowardly choice to take the easy road every single morning. Stop forcing yourself to invent reasonable excuses to soothe your bleeding ego. You say the timing wasn't right, you claim you lacked capital, or you blame a family without a solid foundation. These are nothing but sugar-coated poisons you inject into your own brain, so you don't have to face the truth that you are a loser. In dark psychology, this is called a defense mechanism designed to preserve a fake sense of self-worth. Society is very kind in teaching you how to be a victim. When you fail, they say, "It's okay. You tried your best." That is the most toxic lie of all. They want you to remain a sheep so you are easy to herd. In reality, poverty begins the moment you choose to quit. As soon as pressure reaches a certain threshold, you cannot endure the loneliness of training. You despise the boring consistency of discipline, and you crave cheap pleasures to forget your miserable reality. Look at those people constantly jumping from job to job. They never stop complaining about toxic bosses, unsuitable environments, or jealous colleagues. I laugh in the faces of people like that. The harsh truth is that they are too weak to establish personal authority. They choose to run because it is the least painful option in the short term. But remember this: every time you retreat, you are cutting away a piece of your own backbone. You are committing spiritual suicide. Machiavelli once asserted that fortune is like a woman, and if you want to dominate her, you must use force and firmness to subdue her. Those who choose comfort over what is right are the ones kneeling, begging fate for mercy. And guess what? Fate only spits in the faces of those who kneel. The difference between the ruler and the prey lies in how they perceive pain. 99% see pain as a signal to stop. 1% see it as fuel to accelerate. Never wait for a miracle or some savior to rescue your life. If you are still sitting there waiting for someone to permit you to succeed, you have already lost at the starting line. Machiavelli did not teach us how to pray. He taught us how to sharpen our thinking, to seize what belongs to us. You are poor because you chose to be a slave to laziness. You fail because you chose to befriend mediocrity. Cut those chains immediately. I give you a Machiavellian strategic challenge for the next 7 days. Choose to do the hardest thing you have always been avoiding. Do not explain. Do not seek sympathy. Do not post it on social media to chase a few cheap likes. Stay silent and execute it with the greatest ruthlessness toward yourself. If you cannot endure 1 week of discipline, accept the position of a lifelong slave. Comment below, I stop making excuses. If you dare to face this truth, remember this: well-power only comes to those who dare to step onto the gravel-filled path and turn pain into a crown. Will you stand up and take hold of your sword? Or will you continue lying there waiting to be carved apart? The choice is yours, and so is the price you will pay. Pressure, a test shared by everyone. It ought to be remembered that there is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. Machiavelli said this in The Prince. And you are the one trying to establish order in your own life amid a sea of surrounding pressure. Stop complaining that life is too harsh or that your boss is too ruthless. Wake up. Pressure is not the enemy. It is a natural filter. The world is not deliberately trying to drown you. It is simply conducting a test of character to see whether you are a diamond or just clay that can be easily molded. Why do 99% of men out there remain trapped in mediocrity? Because they fear discomfort. They see pressure as a burden to be shed, rather than a privilege through which value is proven. In dark psychology, the loser always seeks false safety by avoiding responsibility. They crave cheap empathy to soothe a fragile ego. But the reality is this: every time you retreat from a challenge, you are branding yourself as prey. You want respect, yet you tremble before strict demands. That is the ridiculous contradiction of those born to be ruled. Turn back the clock to ancient Rome. Before becoming true warriors, recruits had to endure the testudo test, the tortoise formation. Standing amid a storm of arrows, they had no retreat, no room for personal fear. They had to lock shields together, endure the crushing weight, and suffocating confinement. Whoever held their ground to the end earned the right to join the ranks of the legendary regular legionaries. Pressure was not meant to kill them, but to separate true warriors from cowards. Your life today is no different. Relentless deadlines and power struggles are the rain of arrows aimed at you. If you endure, you win. If you collapse, you disappear. There are no exceptions for the weak. The solution does not lie in hollow self-healing books. It lies in action. Be like a runner grinding through a downpour at 5 a.m. He does not wait for inspiration. He runs because it is discipline. The difference between the ruler and the prey lies solely in the ability to endure prolonged discomfort. Machiavelli did not teach you to beg for peace. He taught you how to harden yourself against adversity. Life is not trying to knock anyone down. It is simply testing who truly deserves to move forward. This week, choose the task that puts the most pressure on you and handle it alone, without complaining. Prove that you can withstand the heat of the forge. Do not let yourself be the one who melts as soon as the fire ignites. Will you be the warrior who stands firm, or the one struck by arrows and forgotten? Overcoming the valley of death through endurance, the trait of successful people. Have you ever started something with a blazing fire in your chest, only to find that a few months later, all that remains is the ash of boredom and frustration? You stare at a silent phone, no congratulatory messages, no sign of progress, and you begin to ask yourself, what the hell am I even doing? Welcome to the Valley of Death. This is where 99% of men leave their bodies behind. They stumble not because they lack talent, but because they indulge their cheap emotions too much. Picture the Valley of Death like going to the gym. At first, everyone is excited about the dream of six-pack abs, loud check-ins, and the belief that they will transform. But when muscle pain starts tearing through the body, when exhaustion takes over and the mirror still reflects a sagging physique, the crowd begins to flee. They call it the quitting valley. In dark psychology, this is when the weak mind activates its self-deception mechanism. It urges you to look for something new and more exciting, only to trap you in the repeating loop of a professional failure. The strong are different. They don't need motivation to lift the weights. They lift because it is an order they give to themselves. The difference does not lie in IQ, but in the ability to endure boredom to the point of being deadly dull. Machiavelli taught that changes always leave behind stepping stones for future changes to cling to. The winner is the one who knows how to hold on to those razor-sharp ledges when everyone else has let go. Look at a student preparing for exams or someone learning a foreign language. Everyone is diligent at the beginning, but the one who reaches the top is the one still sitting at the desk when all excitement has vanished, when results remain unclear, and friends are calling to party. The crowd craves results, but despises the process. You must do the opposite, crave the process and disdain comfort. This world is ruthless and full of hypocrites who will advise you to rest when you are tired. Don't listen to them. That is the curse of mediocrity. The strong continue, even when there is no one left to support them. When their belief in themselves is shaken the most violently, you do not fail when you fall. You only fail when you decide not to stand up again. Perseverance is not a noble virtue as textbooks teach you. It is a weapon for seizing power. Today, choose one task that you currently find nauseatingly boring and do it at double the usual volume. Do not look for reasons. Do not seek comfort. Sign a blood pact with yourself by commenting, "I am more stubborn than fate." This is a ritual to separate yourself from the sheep who constantly chase short-term pleasure. Remember this well: victory and defeat are not decided at the starting line, but by who can endure longer when there is still nothing to celebrate. Will you stay in the valley and rot, or crawl out of it with the posture of a king? Discipline, the secret to getting things done even without inspiration. If you continue to live based on what you call inspiration, I guarantee that 5 years from now, you will still be standing in the same place, failed, broke, and overflowing with regret. What are you waiting for? A beam of light from heaven or a sudden rush of excitement to start working? Don't be ridiculous. 99% of the crowd out there is drowned in stagnation because they worship emotions like a saint, while emotions are, in truth, nothing more than a fickle and treacherous child. You wake up, feel tired, and permit yourself to take a day off. Then one day becomes a week. A week becomes a lifetime of mediocrity. Have you ever asked yourself why you always abandon every plan once the initial excitement fades? In dark psychology, indulging inspiration is how you castrate your own power. Society teaches you to do what you love. But Machiavelli was different. He taught you to do what is necessary to seize victory. The weak work only when they feel like it, while the strong work because it is an order. A ruler cannot govern a nation based on morning moods. He governs through iron discipline. The harsh truth is this: the world does not care how you feel. It only cares about what you have done. The moment you wait for inspiration before starting a project, you have already handed yourself over to your opponent. The disciplined will crush the talented but lazy, while the latter is still busy searching for motivation. Look at Leonardo da Vinci. This great icon did not create the Mona Lisa through moments of spontaneous brilliance. Over many long years, there were months when he was completely stuck, so discouraged that he wanted to throw away his brush. But Leonardo possessed a ruthless discipline. Every day had to move forward, even if it meant only adjusting a shade of background color or refining a faint curve of a lip. The greatest masterpiece in the history of painting is the result of repetition to the point of nausea, not a romantic daydream. Discipline allows you to act even when your soul is screaming to quit. Starting tomorrow, choose a fixed time slot and carry out your most important task regardless of rain or shine. Whether you feel energized or on the edge of despair, treat emotions as the enemy and discipline as the supreme commander. Do not let yourself be a slave to your mood for even one more second. Do you want to be a half-baked artist waiting for inspiration, or a ruler who reigns through iron discipline? Remember, discipline is the only bridge that carries you from intention to results. Regardless of your mood, will you cross that bridge, or stand on this side of the river dreaming for the rest of your life? Decide for yourself. Don't wait for permission. Look at a basketball court, and you will immediately see the brutal hierarchy of power. The one who dominates the game never stands there scratching his head and asking, "Hey, can I shoot?" Now he sees an opening and decisively scores. In contrast, amateurs or insecure players hesitate, their eyes darting around as they wait for a nod or a signal from a teammate. By the time they receive that permission, the opportunity has already vanished, and all they can do is stand there like clowns, watching the opponent score. Your life is that very court. If you are still living while waiting for the world's approval, you are not a player, you are a prop in someone else's game. Why do you always feel the need to ask for opinions everywhere before doing anything? Why do you need your parents' approval, your friends' support, or your boss's nod to begin pursuing your own dreams? In dark psychology, Waiting for permission is essentially a mechanism for avoiding responsibility. You fear standing alone if you fail, so you try to pull others into the situation to share the blame. You are living like a cowardly version of the nice guy from American comedies, always trying to please everyone, yet ending up as the first one kicked out of the game. Machiavelli taught that a prince should never lack legitimate reasons to excuse himself for not keeping his word. What that means is this: act first, explain later. Winners write history. Those who wait for permission only write job applications. The harsh truth is this: other people's opinions are usually worthless if they do not stand where you want to be. When you plan to start a business but ask advice from a bureaucrat terrified of being laid off, you are committing intellectual suicide. The crowd always wants to keep you inside their safe cage because your success is a slap in the face to their laziness. Don't be a clown endlessly circling the question, what will they think? They don't feed you, and they won't die in your place. True power is when you dare to decide, dare to act, and dare to swallow the outcome, whether it is glory or bitterness. Within the next 24 hours, make every decision, small and large, without asking anyone for input. Do not ask, what do you think? Do not say, I'd like everyone's opinion. Train yourself to command your will like a tyrant. Repeat this pact to yourself: I am autonomous. I decide for myself. If you keep waiting to be chosen, you will only live inside someone else's comfort zone. Those who truly command are the ones who dare to decide, will you take control of your own life, or be a puppet waiting for others to pull the strings until the day you're lowered into the grave? Invest in yourself before investing in the market and relationships. Do you have the habit of replying to messages immediately or apologizing when you've done nothing wrong and giving long explanations when questioned? Stop that cheap behavior right now. You think it's politeness? No. It's how you unconsciously brand yourself as inferior. When you prioritize pleasing others over building your own value, you are sending a brutal message to the world. I have no value, go ahead and use me. 99% of men out there are burning their money on trendy crypto bets or stock hype, while their brains are empty and their skills are non-existent. They crave fast wealth, but are lazy when it comes to forging competence. That is not investing, that is the gambling of the naive. Machiavelli, during Italy's chaotic era, witnessed many powerful families collapse completely simply because they were too obsessed with expanding outward while neglecting to fortify their internal strength. They poured money into mercenaries, men who would betray them the moment danger appeared, instead of training loyal soldiers and cultivating internal governance capabilities. The outcome was always blood and tears. The lesson here is clear. The market and relationships are like mercenaries. They will abandon you when you weaken. Only internal capability is the most loyal army that allows you to stand firm through every upheaval. Instead of staring at trading screens, waiting for luck, why don't you learn sales, emotional management, or strategic thinking? Those are the only forms of profit that last forever. If you lose all your money, a brain with grit will help you earn it back tenfold. But if you only have money and no brain, you are nothing more than easy prey for hunters. Look at the people you currently surround yourself with. Are they a source of drive? Or are they silent anchors dragging you down? If they constantly whisper things like, don't be too ambitious, or why bother working so hard, understand this: they fear your growth. A true partner accepts that you will change in order to become greater, not chain you to mediocrity. Right now, Take a portion of the budget and time you plan to throw into the market and use it to buy a practical course or sharpen a money-making skill. Make a pact with yourself by hitting subscribe on this channel, not for entertainment, but to declare that you are sick of being a blind investor. When you place yourself in a community that is focused on growth, it becomes impossible to move backward. Remember this: markets rise and fall, relationships change, but personal capability is the only thing no one can ever take from you. So start building your empire from yourself. Instead of continuing to entrust your life to luck, choose your environment and companions to raise your standard of living. The brutal truth is this: the people you currently call your brothers may very well be the biggest obstacles preventing you from reaching power. You think you are being loyal. No, if you choose loyalty as a virtue to cultivate, you are committing collective suicide. 99% of the crowd worship stability and comfort one another in failure. When you sit around drinking beer with people who do nothing but complain about the government, their boss, or the weather, you are not relaxing. You are being injected with the poison of mediocrity. In dark psychology, humans tend to assimilate downward to feel safe. When you rise above them, you make them feel inferior, and their instinctive reaction is not to climb up with you, but to pull you down so everyone stays equally small. Machiavelli wrote in chapter 22 of The Prince, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. If those around you are lazy, ambitionless, and addicted to short-term pleasure, then no matter how capable you are nothing more than a king of a landfill." Have you ever felt out of place when talking about your dreams in front of your old friends? You see their smirks. Hear them mock you as a dreamer or a get-rich-quick guy. That is not because they care about you, but because they fear that your awakening will expose their own cowardice. Do not take advice from those who have never stood where you aspire to be. Listening to a poor man teach you how to get rich is like asking a blind person for a treasure map. It is voluntary stupidity. Machiavelli's solution is certainly not gentle. Ruthlessly purge your circle. Instead of socializing with pleasure-seeking friends, throw yourself into environments filled with people who live by harsh standards. Seek out those who will curse you to your face when you are lazy. Those who treat discipline as breathing rather than a burden. You do not need empathy, you need competition. Proactively absorb the thinking of successful people through reliable sources, turning the greatest minds in history into your silent advisors. When the standards of those around you rise, you are forced to grow stronger or be eliminated. Loneliness at the top is more glorious than false warmth in the mud. Imagine choosing an environment like choosing a tank for a goldfish. If you place it in a small, oxygen-poor bowl, it can only grow to a limited size before it stops, its body stunted by lack of space. But that same fish, if released into a vast lake or the open sea, will grow larger, stronger, and more majestic. Humans are the same. If you live in a tank filled with people who limit themselves through fear, you will gradually see all barriers as normal. You will die in that small tank with a soul that never had the chance to spread its wings. If you want to go far, choose teammates and environments harsher than yourself. Compromising with mediocrity is the enemy of all progress. Will you choose to be a rotting goldfish in the narrow glass tank of the crowd, or swim into the ocean, even if it means facing sharks to claim greatness? Remember this well: your standard of living is the average of the people you allow into your life. Never lower your standards just to buy a cheap sense of belonging. Every achievement begins with choice and perseverance. Turn back time to 49 BC. On the cold banks of the Rubicon River, Julius Caesar stood there. Before him, a fragile line separating a loyal general from a rebel who would be executed. The 99% would choose to turn back, submit to the old order in exchange for a false sense of safety. But Caesar was different. He understood that fate does not knock on the doors of those who hesitate. With the immortal words, "Alea jacta est," the die is cast. He spurred his horse across the river. With one ruthless choice and a mad persistence that cut through every barrier, Caesar shattered a decaying system to build a great empire. You are standing on the banks of your own Rubicon, but instead of moving forward, you are busy bargaining with fate. Aren't you? The poverty, stagnation, and anonymity you are carrying are not a punishment from God, nor are they the result of so-called bad luck. Discard that victim mindset. The harsh reality is this: your current circumstances are an indictment of your cowardly choices in the past. You chose to sleep an extra 30 minutes instead of training. You chose to scroll TikTok and inhale cheap pleasures instead of learning a money-making skill. You chose silence when you should have spoken up to claim what was yours. Society is very good at lulling you to sleep with advice, like just be yourself or enjoy life. That is a dark psychological trick designed to turn you into a compliant consumer, never strong enough to challenge the existing order. Machiavelli exposed this naked truth centuries ago. Men often change masters in the hope of improving their condition. But in fact, they only discover their mistake after experiencing something worse. You constantly change goals, jump from one project to another the moment difficulty appears, because you believe change will bring a miracle. Wrong. Lack of perseverance is the metastatic cancer in your mind. The strong do not win because they start fast. They win because they are the last ones still standing when all rivals have collapsed from exhaustion. Perseverance is not blind stubbornness, but the ability to maintain the highest standards even when motivation has vanished and results have yet to appear. Look at those flaunting wealth on social media with borrowed images. The crowd craves that surface-level glamour, but despises the brutal training beneath it. You want the power of a king, but carry the mindset of a servant waiting to be told what to do. Absurd. Success is the result of continuously taking responsibility, daring to choose lonely paths, and relentlessly raising your own tolerance for hardship. If you still listen to those who make you feel comfortable, you will forever remain just a statistic among the 99% who fail. A true ruler never compromises with mediocrity. The solution to your stagnation does not lie in any secret formula. It lies in whether you dare to nail yourself to your choice and persevere with ruthless consistency. You must choose the right companions. Choose the right environment to forge yourself. And most importantly, choose never to forgive your own laziness. Do not wait for everything to be perfect before you begin. Caesar did not wait for a massive army to cross the river. He created that army with his will. Stop being the man who hesitates on the sidelines of his own life. Great results are always the reward for those who dare to choose and dare to endure, not for those who hesitate. Change direction, or quit halfway. Will you turn back and live the rest of your life gnawed by regret? Or will you spur your horse across the Rubicon to seize ultimate glory? Remember, the waters of the Rubicon never flow backward, and time will show no mercy to your hesitation. Once the strategic die is cast, persist until the world is forced to kneel before your results. Never be the man with a belly full of ambition and legs that tremble. The difference between a conqueror and a dreamer lies solely in the ability to endure the torture of time. If you stop when pain strikes, you are nothing more than a statistic of failure. But if you turn pain into fury and keep moving forward, you become the one who rewrites history. When you truly dare to commit to this brutal path, right below, the die is cast. This is not a comment. It is your declaration of war against your own mediocrity. Do not let Julius Caesar or the masters of power from the past be ashamed of the cowardice and weakness of their descendants. Will you stand at the peak or lie at the bottom of oblivion? Choose. We have walked through the 8 most brutal truths about power and position. Now, you no longer have the right to blame circumstances. Remember this, clearly the world owes you no shortcuts. And Machiavelli never taught cheap tricks. Machiavellian philosophy does not stop at theories of power or dark schemes. When applied to real life, it becomes a declaration of fortitude. Those who can endure long-term discomfort, those who dare to remain steadfast in their most solitary personal choices, and those who deliberately design an environment that raises standards are the ones who earn the right to break through. No miracle can replace ruthless daily self-discipline. The outcome has never depended on whether you started rich or poor, but on whether you dare to cross the valley of quitting. Build for yourself a solid foundation of discipline, and ruthlessly select who is allowed to walk alongside you. That is the only path that not only frees you from mediocrity, but also leads to lasting dominance. I have a challenge for you. Do not just nod in agreement. Turn off this video and return to your worn-out old life. Leave a comment below about the moment you realized how you have been self-sabotaging yourself all this time. What will you do differently starting today? The difference between the top 1% of leaders and the 99% of the crowd out there comes down to 3 words: dare to act. The crowd will continue to sleep inside their excuses. And you, if you dared to watch until this moment, I believe you have chosen to awaken. If you want to sharpen your mindset and not miss the strategies to take control of this game, hit subscribe and join a community of men who dare to face the truth. The conquest has only just begun. Today, are you the chess piece or the one holding the reins? The answer lies in your next action.